Do you know what goes on boats like this, chat?
Son of a bitch.
Like he's got a little stupid little hat. Are you still there? Hoshi YouTube! I am Stellatrix, coming at you live from a starship near you. Today we will be perceiving Casually Explained Billionaires by Casually Explained. I've never seen a Casually Explained video. But I'm here today with Chacha Yovi Mom's Cutie Pies. We have an entourage today. Oh my god, I just found a Dorito in my chair under my foot. Heck yeah. It's like finding a fry at the bottom of the bag. So strap on, and let's go perceive.
This video is brought to you by Incognito. Now, the difference between an average person and a billionaire is essentially zero. Unfortunately, about 9 of them. Nevertheless, if you're a regular person, you walk around the same streets as both the riff, the RAF, and professionals all the same. You probably know people who still live at home, friends slumming it with roommates, couples sharing a 2-bedroom, and high earners with a single family home, a dog, 2 kids, and the white picket fence, giving you a decent perspective of life for the average person. But when you're so rich that money basically doesn't matter, everything changes completely. One unavoidable characteristic of becoming a billionaire is that you end up in such an isolated social circle that you often cease to relate to the common person and your life becomes unrecognizable. For this reason, billionaires actually have more in common with the homeless than they do with most people. Doesn't pay taxes, undiagnosed mental illness, on the kind of drugs you don't even know how to get, and never even heard of the Epstein files.
On the Epstein files! Oh boy. Okay. I see where this is going. This is a particularly pertinent topic, isn't it? Did you guys see that clip of Billie Eilish recently? Standing in a room and saying like, hey, billionaires, you should like donate more money. And Mark Zuckerberg just like gave her the stink eye and she called the billionaires shorties.
Give your money away, shorties. She's
like, it's not cool, shorties. Billie Eilish calling billionaires shorties is the energy that we need in 2025. She's so real for that.
Now, it's natural to look at your life where you work 40 hours a week for just enough to scrape by and think, how does someone even get to be a billionaire in the first place? It's really pretty simple. At some point or another, we've all had the genius thought, what if 1 million people just gave me $1? It would barely inconvenience them, but then I would have $1 million.
I feel
While most of us stop at this fantasy, impressed by our own raw ingenuity, some people throughout history have gone further, extrapolated on this scheme, and invented what is known today as a business. As an example, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph thought, what if you give me $16 every month and I mail you Shrek 2 on DVD? Easy $6.5 billion. Elon Musk said, what if you give me $8,000 and I pretend to give you a self-driving car every year for the next decade? Richest man on earth. Mark Zuckerberg said, what if I give you an app that...
God, I cannot. Every single time I see Mark Zuckerberg, he looks like an SCP. I look more real than Mark Zuckerberg does. You remember meeting him at some outer space cantina? Can I look dead inside like this too? Who wore it better? Good try, you're right. I have too much soul in my body to match his energy. Only lizard people can do that.
Collects all of your personal information in a giant database that I own, and you give me a heat lamp and a bowl of grasshoppers. To really drive home how much wealth billionaires have, when someone says they're a billionaire, they're one of only 800 people in the United States.
Wait, I just got that! The heat lamp and a bowl of grasshoppers! That took me... Okay, that took me a minute.
Database that I own, and you give me a heat lamp and a bowl of grasshoppers. To really drive home how much wealth billionaires have, when someone says they're a billionaire, they're one of only 800 people in the United States. In contrast, if someone says they're a millionaire, it means they have a house. While politically it's commonplace for progressives to hate billionaires because they epitomize late-stage capitalism, I don't make fun of billionaires because I have an ideological bone to pick. I make fun of them because they're really fucking weird. Recently, Peter T.
When you have so much money that you can literally buy anything, your dopamine receptors are shut. This is why billionaires do stupid stuff like go down in like a submarine held together by hopes and dreams to visit the freaking Titanic wreckage. They have nothing left to live for. I stand by my personal theory that all billionaires are super miserable people. They're so miserable and they're jealous of the average person for being able to feel and experience things that they cannot.
Bill, a tech billionaire and right-wing ideas guy, appeared on a podcast and was asked if he thought the human race should survive. He then stammered over the question for 15 seconds before reluctantly answering with the classic, "Yes, but." Now, I'm no expert in media training, but as I frequently tell Putin, Hamas, and Benjamin Netanyahu on our weekly Zoom meetings, the correct answer to human rights questions is always to say yes right away, and only reveal later that you had your fingers crossed out of frame. Billionaires like Teal are almost alarmingly out of touch with how to communicate with the general public.
I can't. With a freaking yes, but answer. That just proves my point! That literally proves my point! All billionaires are freaking miserable! They're miserable! They don't know what it's like to be a person anymore! I mean, imagine the feeling you get for those of you who have a job or like have ever been given money. Envision that dopamine rush that you get from being given that money and how you feel. And then imagine that happening so many times that you literally don't have dopamine receptors anymore. I feel like getting money is literally like having an opioid addiction. It's the same thing.
Because even though he can understand a regular, almost alarmingly out of touch with how to communicate with the general public, because even though he can understand a regular person's life conceptually, he can't relate to them on a personal level. For example, I get really hot at night when I go to bed, so I like to turn the temperature way down. Whereas Teal prefers to sleep in a deep freezer, he lays down like a sarcophagus. Now, the good news is that not all billionaires base their whole personality on World of Warcraft expansions and name their company after the magic rock Sauron used to corrupt weak minds and manipulate their will. Warren Buffett, for example, has not only pledged all of his wealth to charity after he dies, but he also still lives a very humble life in his house in Omaha that he bought in 1958 using the change he picked up off the ground. Nevertheless, most billionaires don't do much to shake off the public image that their whole existence is just about lording over their minimum wage warehouse workers as they Zillow the next 2,000 hectares of farmland to buy, sip their cognac, and mutter to their Siamese cat what pleasure it brings them to see the peasants toiling for their coin. But this isn't how billionaires run companies, this is how Mr. Beast comes up with video ideas. The ethical question...
Nobody is safe! He comes for everybody. Nothing is sacred. I like this man.
The question of should there be billionaires at all is one of the most hot button issues around right now because wealth inequality has been steadily increasing decade over decade, and many people believe that billionaires don't pay their fair share. This is of course ridiculous as billionaires get divorced all the time. With that said, it is a common belief that if the government were to confiscate everyone's personal wealth above $999 million, this would lead to a dramatic improvement in the standard of living for the average person. Problem is, even if you were to yoink every stock, bond, and square inch of real estate a billionaire owns, liquidate all of it to straight cash while somehow getting market value, in the US you would get about $6.22 trillion. Which would cover 11 months of government spending, or every person in the country would get a one-time payment of around $18,000.
I mean, it would also completely, decimate the economy. But yeah, go off, bestie.
While this is nothing to scoff at, if you're one of the people who says we should eat the rich, it's important to consider that the average inheritance in the US is $46,000, meaning you would make more money if you ate just one of your parents. Now, because they can't yet buy more of it, billionaires are experts at managing their time. While flying private is out of reach for most of us, there are other tips you can copy from billionaires to save time in your own life. For example, when I make a new account on a website, I save time by letting Chrome auto-generate an encrypted password.
Don't use the browser password manager. If you're gonna use a password manager, use an actual password manager and not your browser password manager. I smell an ad segment, right? I'm like,
I got this idea from Elon Musk, who uses the same technique to name his children. When you basically reach level 99,
so much better than an ad segment.
In capitalism, you might ask yourself, what do I do now? Not to worry, once you've reached the level cap, there's still plenty of side quests for you to do. While most regular people spend their time playing video games, doing arts and crafts, or playing a sport, billionaires can choose more exotic things like getting bullied on Twitter, criticizing the Chinese government exactly one time, paying pro athletes to make you feel talented, leaving the planet in search of any novelty that will make the emptiness go away, paying to boost your Path of Exile account, then streaming it to prove to anyone who doubted your multidisciplinary genius that they were in fact correct, exploring the bottom of the ocean to uncover its lost secrets, and of course exploring the bottom of the ocean and then dying instantly.
I love billionaires. They're so entertaining to watch.
In reality, when you're worth even hundreds of millions of dollars, an ultimately rookie amount, you can pretty much have anything you want. Penthouses, luxury cars, private chef, private plane, giant house, and another giant house in a poor country that kinda sucks but has good weather, and you're not sure if purchasing power parity means the gardeners are getting paid well by their standards, or if you just own slaves. With this in mind, if you are a billionaire, it's actually pretty hard to think of a way to flex on multi-millionaires.
I'm pretty sure I read that like once you've like reached the point of $1 billion, there's just not enough stuff to buy to be able to spend all of it in your lifetime unless you like literally donate all of it.
Meaning the 23-year-olds on Raya who look like they're 35 aren't gonna message you back. That is of course until you remember what separates the centimillionaires from the billionaires. Big boat. Ask a girl if she'd rather be stuck in the middle of a forest with a random bear or a random man, and she picks the bear every time. Ask a girl if she'd rather be stuck in the middle of the ocean with a random shark or stuck in the middle of the ocean with a random Saudi man, and she picks Muhammad every time.
I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know if I want to be stuck in the middle of the ocean with any random man with a boat like this. Do you know what goes on boats like this, chat?
Son of a...
I don't think you want to know what goes on boats like this, chat. I think I'll pick the shark.
This is because men in the forest are broke, meaning they'll try to touch your boob. Whereas men on yachts are rich, meaning they have grown weary of material desires and flew you out business class for your quirky personality. While no one has tried to sex traffic me yet, the closest I've been able to get so far was when I was on a holiday in France several years ago and made a day trip to Monaco. Now for people not in the know, Monaco is a tiny sovereign nation basically inside France and is like a Vatican City tax haven for the ultra wealthy. They have a little garden you can look at near the Monte Carlo casino, which was the only thing I could afford. And as you walk through, you're like, oh, look, a little building. Hopefully this one's a bathroom. Nope, just another Audemars Piguet watch kiosk. Then you pee on it anyway because you're in Europe. Other than this neat oceanographic museum, what I thought was the coolest part of Monaco was the port, which was divided into sections based on how important people in Monaco thought you were. In the very inner part of the harbor, you have the literal wage slave section, which is basically all the yachts that I would see back home. Then there's Worthless, which had the biggest yachts I have ever seen in real life prior to this. After that, you have Starter Yacht, which are like floating New York City penthouses. Then the last section in the harbor is, finally, a real yacht, which is one giant pier for the 2 or 3 mega yachts that rule the Monaco postcard photo and cost at least $100 million each.
I don't understand why rich people go for big boat. Like, why? It's so much work. So I've said before, I feel like it has to be so tiring to be stupidly rich. Like, even if you have enough money to pay somebody to handle the yacht for you or whatever, you still have to talk to somebody else. You still have to talk to people. Even if you have an assistant to handle talking to the people, you still have to talk to the assistant. Like, you have to talk to somebody. You have to talk to somebody to handle stuff. And that's like exhausting.
Obviously you don't stop there because these things are a dime a dozen. So then you go out in the ocean and you get, what is this, a harbor for ants? Now you might be thinking what I was thinking at the time, which was, even if you were a billionaire, why on earth would you want a mega yacht so big you can't even park it in the harbor? Exactly, to store your other yachts in, Brokey, get with the program. At this point, I too was wondering how I could acquire a Russian nesting yacht until I was like, speaking of, what's that? And maybe a few kilometers farther out from the shore was this thing, which is the world's largest sailing yacht, and in the top 5 most expensive yachts ever built. It's owned by Andrei Melnichenko and designed by the guy who made this cool lemon squeezer that my mom just bought.
It looks like a freaking android. It looks like one of the turrets from Portal, but creepier and stupid. Like, he's got a little stupid little hat. Are you still there? I'm uncomfortable.
Oh, I'd forgotten the oligarch class yacht existed. This guy claims he does
oligargle these nuts!
Doesn't even have ties to the Russian state, making him just a regular unimportant billionaire. This argument of course didn't work on the Italian government after Russia invaded Ukraine because they saw the yacht parked outside their shoreline and said, yoink, which brings us to the true top of the hierarchy, which isn't who owns the biggest yacht, it's who owns the biggest ocean. And you know what that means. That's right, baby, the taxpayer wins again. Checkmate, billionaires, me and the boys have once again risen to the top.
Frick yeah!
Now, if you're looking to, oops, wrong slide. If you're looking to avoid calls from the IRS or other scammers that manage to get your email or phone number from Zuckerberg's databank, you should try today's sponsor, Incogni. Incogni is a service that contacts data brokers on your behalf to request the removal of your information from their products and services. This means it won't be able to be purchased or acquired by potential scammers, spammers, or crazy exes, even though you wish they would sometimes. This is something data brokers have to comply with, they just don't really want to, so to do it yourself manually would take dozens or hundreds of hours. All you have to do is sign up for an Incogni account, and right away it'll get to work, while giving you reports on what has been initiated, in progress, and completed. When you use it for the first time, you're going to think, how did it start so fast? I haven't even told it what my data is yet. But that's what you did when you signed up, suddenly causing you to realize why it makes sense that everyone in the world has your email and phone number now. If you'd like to give Incogni a try, you can use promo code CASUALLY at the link in the description to save 60% off an annual plan. Just make sure you leave a bowl of grasshoppers out for Mark as he comes for you when you rest.
That was Billionaires, casually explained by Casually Explained. Truly a riveting experience. If there is something you would like me to react to, please leave a comment about it, or tell me on Discord, or tell me on Twitch. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Remember, it's never goodbye. It is always good later. Bye-bye. America! Yeah! Nee, 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 nee.